Unmistakable music indicates we have just spoken to Daniel Norris, and we will be, well, hold on. See, now Daniel can go out and win 30 just like McLean did, or 3 World Series games like Lolich did in 68 or so. He can go out and do that now. That is sappy enough to be my favorite fight song of baseball team. I swear, I love that song. The Go Get. It's from the 68 World Series team of the Detroit Tigers. K-Line, Gates Brown, Ray Oyler. Yes, Ray Oyler hitting 135 and starting at shortstop. And they said, we can't have that in the World Series. Everybody hit 135 in 68. Yaz led the league in hitting at 301. The lowest batting average ever to win the batting title in baseball and all that. They lowered the mound after that. That was the year over in the National League where Bob Gibson had his 112 ERA doing nothing but throwing gas. And actually, surprisingly, I guess it was only the second time in a World Series. Seventh game, the World Series starter. And everyone thought it was going to be Gibson with his 112 ERA and McLean against his 31 victories. And instead, Mickey Lolich comes out, and he's the big winner for the Tigers. And he wins 3 games and leads them back from a 3-1 deficit in the series and the upset victory in 68. And what a lot of people say, you can debate this, but you see the last real season of baseball, not because every game was a pitcher's duel, although I kind of like that, but because it was the last year in which it was only the World Series. The first place teams, 10 teams in both leagues, and the first place teams, in this case the Cardinals and the Tigers, met in the World Series. There was no playoffs. And of course now, with an early play and so many teams, you don't even play the same schedules. There's actually strength of schedule is going to be a determining factor. What you get the luck of the draw for your schedule. If you take on, so like I said with Daniel Norris, I thought the Indians won 22 in a row last year in large part because when they were playing the Tigers were depleted. They had traded away a lot of their best players. Norris was hurt. A lot of they were sitting them. They were playing, 3 guys in the starting lineup who began the year at AAA in Toledo. And here you had the Indians, defending American League champion. Who's going to win that game, really? And they beat them 6 times out of 6 in the 22-game winning streak. If you're winning 22 in a row, you're probably, and I know there were some games against the Yankees and the Red Sox in that streak and so on, but you're probably not going to play, the absolute top competition going out. The longest winning streak in baseball history, yes, with the tie, and we, looked this up, the 16 Giants, New York Giants. And they basically, got fat on bottom feeders as well. So, there you are. Anyway, so our thanks to Daniel Norris as well as Caleb Calhoun for talking to us. I wanted to say here, Steve Forbes obviously is everyone praising him, myself included. We have discussed a little bit on, is he going to stay at ETSU? The circumstance now comes out, what with Andy Kennedy resigning yesterday or at Ole Miss or earlier in the week, who will go to Ole Miss? So Mississippi becomes the first major basketball job that's opening up. Of course, Ole Miss is not known for basketball. They're a little for baseball. They're known, football back in the 60s under Johnny Vaught, but, they're not really that well known for basketball, to tell you the truth. So if you go to Oxford, there is a chance that it could be a coaching graveyard. But nevertheless, it's the SEC. It's a Big 5 job. Kennedy made $1.9 million this year just from his contract. Forbes, when his contract maxes out, is going to make $4.25 $425,000. Now, that doesn't include the sneaker deals, the radio deals, whatever. But, although that's quite the salary, it's not, Forbes is not going to be making SEC money at ETSU anytime soon. So a list put out by the Clarion Ledger, which of course covers Ole Miss, had Steve Forbes on it as a potential replacement. Not a surprise there. Why Ole Miss would be interested? Well, you know why. Because all he does is win. Good personality, etc., etc. Why he would be interested in Ole Miss? Because he gets to go to the SEC, major conference, and maintains many of the same recruiting relationships he already has as well. But the thing is it a fit? And what the Clarion Ledger, the sports writers' names are Hugh Kellenberger and Antonio Morales. What they write is Forbes was fired at Tennessee amidst the NCAA probe into Bruce Pearl. Fair or not, does anything with a hint of the NCAA stench on them get ruled out by Ole Miss right now? Especially what's going on with their football program. Interesting thing. Normally you'd say, Ole Miss probation, bring it on. Of course. Who cares? It's Ole Miss. But now you wonder, hey, look, the tide is high for us here, so to speak, if I can quote Debbie Harry and offend every Ole Miss fan out there for mentioning tide. Can they hold on, and would Pearl, even with, though, we had Chris Lowe. And if you didn't hear the interview, go to our 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities Facebook page and listen to the interview archived with Chris Lowe. A lot of hits on it. And he actually goes and discusses the Pearl show cause penalty and, what went on a little bit there. Make your own decision. Some athletic director and college president may be doing just that this year. Of course, he is also 53, so maybe that is a little long in the tooth. Let me tell you the other coaches that reportedly, at least the sports writers down at the Clarion Ledger in Jackson, they speculate upon Kermit Davis at Middle Tennessee, Dan Hurley at Rhode Island, who is going to be a candidate for a lot of jobs, Eric Musselman at Nevada, and also John Schuyler. He's an assistant on Coach K at Duke. What do you think about Earl Grant at College of Charleston or Joe Dooley at Florida Gulf Coast? You thought that Andy Enfield isn't there? No, he's in Southern California. Those would be the guys that possibly might be up for the job against Forbes. 2018, and in the state of Tennessee.